So it's about 2 weeks before Christmas, December 2019, and I'm being careful not to play out a pattern of behaviour which I normally fall straight into. It's getting colder, nights are longer, days are shorter, I just want to go and curl up in a ball and hibernate. And because of that, any plans that I've got, any big bits of work that I've got, I tend to go, oh, you know what? I can leave that until the new year. Let's not worry about that now. I'll just get onto it in January. And it's a pattern which I've played out for many, many years, and it's one which doesn't serve me, because I know that come January, I'll have to warm myself back up, I'll have to get up to speed, I'll have to start ticking things over, turning things over really, really quickly. And I know that that comes with a huge amount of frustration. And then before you know it, it's the end of January or the end of February or even into March, and I still haven't started to get on with the things I need to get on with. So this year I'm going to do it differently. And I've been looking at ways in which I can plan for next year, ways in which I can actually set some real goals for next year, and how I can work towards those. And a friend of mine, Linda, introduced me to a very, very simple model, which I suppose in a way she calls a mathematical model because it uses mathematical symbols. And it's a very simple way of being able to analyse not just what's gone on this year, but also what you need to be focusing on next year. And I want to introduce that to you now. So I want you to put a piece of paper in front of you, and I want you to draw a cross on it. And in the top left, I want you to write add. In the top right, I want you to write subtract. And underneath the add, bottom left, I want you to write multiply. And then on the bottom right, I want you to write divide. And these are going to be the 4 quadrants which we use to kind of analyse what you're doing and what you need to be doing next year. And in simple terms, the questions you need to be asking yourself are, what is it that I need to add into my day, my processes, my job, my life, in order to achieve my vision? That's your first quadrant. The second one is, what is it I need to stop doing completely? What do I need to subtract and take away? The third one is, of the things which I'm doing and I can't not do, which things are working really well and which things do I need to amplify and do more of? What do I need to multiply? And then your final one is, the things I've got to do, but actually they don't really serve me too much, but I can't let them go. Which ones do I need to divide? Which ones do I need to do less of? So if you look at this list, you might well find some surprising patterns. Now, you might, for some of you, find that actually you're doing everything perfectly and this teaches you nothing. But I think for the majority of you, you'll be looking at things and you'll go, actually, that's really interesting. And maybe I need to add that. And actually, I need to get rid of that completely. And, if I do more of that, it's really going to help me to get where I'm going. And if I do less of that, it will make me feel better generally anyway. So let's give you an example of how this might work. Now, in a previous episode, I talked to Sarah from the Office Genie, and Sarah was talking about the virtues and the benefits of having a call handling service. So it might be that in your subtract quadrant, you have got call handling. That one of your plans for 2020, in order to move towards your goals, is that you stop taking your calls and you give them to somebody else, an external call handling company, a receptionist internally, another member of staff, whatever it is. That could be quite a big thing. And once you take that away, it could help you to get towards your goals. So an example from the positive side, something you need to add into it is, if you need to go from paper records to electronic records, maybe you need to actually add in an electronic note-taking system, one of the many ones out there to help. And that can fit in beautifully with something like call handling. So an example of things that you might want to multiply, do more of, do you need to sleep more? Do you need to do more exercise? What is it in there which you could be doing more of which would really help you towards your goals? So an example of where you might want to divide and pull things back a little bit might be in the number of hours that you practice clinically. Are you trying to do less working in the business and more time working on the business? In which case you need to look at the amount of hours you do and pull those back a little bit. Now those are just random examples and things which are probably pulled mostly from my experience and my past of being in business. But this quadrant, this system you can use for any aspect of your life and any aspect of what you do. And if you have a particular vision in your business, it doesn't have to be all of these things are clinically and to do with the business. They can be things which are outside of the business which will impact. But as a tool, I found it really useful to actually sit down and work through those things. And it can be a big thing you're looking at, or it can be a much, much smaller thing you're looking at. And this system, I find, works really, really well. And this model is really simple in its execution, but it relies on a couple of things. It relies on you actually taking the time to spend going through, looking at these things, questioning these things, and actually working out what serves you and what doesn't. And the second thing it needs you to do is it needs you to take action on those points. We can have all this planning, and I'm guilty of this, of planning things to the nth degree and then just not bloody doing them. And it's a real pain. So I'm sure you'll find that really, really useful. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear any comments on it and any feedback. You've got the comments below. You can find it somewhere around here on whatever social media channel this ends up on. You know where to find me if you've got any questions. See you later.